A warm welcome to you from IODA, the International OD Association. My name is Rod, and this video is one in a series of videos, interviews with some amazing people doing OD and conflict resolution. And these videos are brought to you by IODA's Silverman Endowment Fund. When I first met our guest today some years ago, I was moved by his story and what he was able to do in Pakistan. More than that, I was challenged by his courage and the way he went about his work. In OD, we have a concept of the self as instrument of change, instrument of conflict resolution in this case. Our guest today, Irshad, epitomizes that. It's my great pleasure to welcome you, Irshad, and to encourage you to share your story. Welcome.
Thank you, Rod. It's a great honor for me to share my experience and my learning with IODA people and around the world. Since last several years, I am working in Pakistan. In one of the districts, it is called District Pakpatan. Some people call it City of Saints because it is famous due to one of the greatest saints in Muslim history. His name is Baba Farid Shakargan. I'm based in Lahore. Lahore is one of the famous city of Pakistan. The population is more than, I think, 10 million. It shows its beauty. So there are so many different sayings in Pakistanis that all the Pakistanis living in remote and far-flung areas, they used to say to each other that, have you visited Lahore? When they say no, the reply is that you have not yet born. So it shows the importance of Lahore. By birth, I'm not belong to Lahore, I belong to District Pakpatan. My whole family is living here. Why I selected District Pakpatan? Because I grown up there. My schooling, college education is there. So I wanted to contribute back from where my parents spent a lot of money to make me educated, to be a wonderful person that I am able to talk with you. So I wanted to contribute back to my rural areas who invested a lot of money on me. So this was my main concern. So I also opened a school. I contributed to increase the girls' education and arrange funds to provide them bicycles. All these projects have a wonderful contribution in District Pakpatan.
In terms of those who might not know Pakistan very well, can you tell us a little bit about life in that area where you grew up, and to what extent is the normal everyday life, civil society intertwined with the religious beliefs and practices there in that area? And are there different groups in that area, or do they all have a similar set of beliefs about how life should be?
District Pakpatan is basically agricultural area. It is center of the Punjab. Pakistan is mainly divided in 4 provinces. The Punjab is the biggest province in terms of a population, and District Pakpatan is in the heart of this province. You can call it, it is in the center. Basically, this is agricultural land, and there are different groups we call sects. Mainly, we divide them in 4 different type of sects. One is we call Sunni, but Sunni are also divided into 3 more groups. There are, we call Ahle Hadith, then we call Barelvi, and then we call Deobandi, and another 4th sect is we call Ahle Tashi, Shia. But mainly people outside, they only know 2 groups, that there are Sunnis and the Shia. The problem is mostly these groups uh, don't consider other groups equal to them based on their sectarian education and sectarian understanding of their specific sects or groups, because they are trained since childhood to later ages with specific linear type of a thinkings, with this linear type of a curriculum, because each has a different madrasas, you can call schools. They have a different mosques where the followers of the same group used to go for prayers. So you can call them hardliners too, because in one village, if we have two mosques with different sects, the followers of one sect hardly go in the mosque of the other sect. And there were a lot of hate speeches too in one village. Hate speeches mean that on Friday prayer, one religious leader will use loudspeakers and give speeches we call hate speeches against the other sects. So sometimes there is a lot of conflicts among the followers, because each followers think that they are right and other group is not right.
Did these leaders ever get together and meet each other, or they would have kept separate from each other before your work? Was there any forum where the leaders could meet each other?
Never. Before my work, there was not such kind of thinking, because the first time when I started work, I invited them in a school in one of the classrooms. You can't believe they were just like not looking at each other, and even they have turned the faces of their chairs to others. They have just like they didn't want to see them. They didn't want to say greet them. And that four different groups of people who think that others are not a Muslim, you put in one room. It is, I have never seen such kind of a experience in my life. Even in some mosques, they were used to uh, deliver hate speeches against the person who was sitting next to them. So it was a very, you can say, unique and remarkable experience for me. There were so many different stories. And but after that, believe me, one group was invited, the other group in their own mosque, and they offered food, and even they offered, you can say, gifts too. You cannot believe that Al Tashi can come in the mosque of Al Hadith, and they have been offered a food. And we cannot believe that the Al Hadith will be invited to visit Imam Barga of Al Tashi. In our context, it is beyond understanding. It is not just talking, it was a hard reality. And all these Imams, they accepted that in whole life they have not visited the mosque of other groups or sects. This is the first time they have visited them. So there were so many wonderful learnings that we all are human beings, basically. We want to live in peace, but unfortunately, we are not trained. We are trained how to do a job, we are trained how to do business, but we are not trained how to live a good life. We are not trained how to live with diverse understanding and point of views. We are not trained that how to manage the conflictual ideas and conflictual types of interest. We hardly trained our children that when you will grown up, you should live with diverse ideas. You should live with people of different race, with different questions, with different temperaments, with different attitudes. One of the wonderful exercise that helped them to understand the point of view of others was the where is the door. So I showed them, look at me, where is the door? Some said it in front, some said left side, some said right side. And I said, it is behind me. Who is true? And they were just shocked. because each group was right and each group was wrong. So I told them this is exercise helped us to understand our point of view. If you put yourself into my shoes, you will talk like me. If I put myself into your shoes, I will talk like you because you are trained to be a Hawabi, you are trained to be a Shia, you are trained to be a Al Hadith. We are all trained to look with specific lens. We are not trained to be neutral. In the whole world, we look that we hardly think beyond all these lenses. We should keep our lenses aside and think that we are all a human being in spite of diverse understanding. You know, another exercise that I shared with them, I look at all these people, how many faces, how many people have same faces. There is not a single person who is actually like, whose face is actually like others. There was not a single person. So I told them that if we are not like each other, our faces are not like each other. God has gifted us a diversity. How can we, think that we will think with the same understanding? We can't think like others. We have to think different, and difference is beauty. Difference is the God gifted ability.
How did you succeed in bringing them together? You took them on this wonderful journey where they began to appreciate how things looked from each other's point of view, but why did they trust you enough to come into the room together with the people that they despised?
Rod, this is, I think, very interesting question. One key point of view was to maintain neutrality, because each sect was expecting that the resource person has a specific point of view to control words, to maintain neutrality, and to give impression of sympathy, encouragement, help them to understand others' point of view, have a patience. All these things, I think, were most successful tools, because if they have a very harsh question that was disturbing, I gave them a smile. I never, you can say, I never showed them any annoyance. So I realized that one important thing in such kind of a trainings is that the trainer or facilitator should control on their words, because words give them a message. And you know, judgment is always to the listener. So if we use loose words that have a different type of interpretations, look, the hardliners from different forceps, they can interpret differently. And when they do interpret differently, you will not provide them excuse. The workshop can be destroyed. Conflicts are everywhere, and the conflicts are rooted in our understanding, distorted understanding. And this distorted understanding always, you can say, transform into intolerance. All religious intolerance have a distorted, based on a distorted understanding. Look at the Middle Ages. They were not properly understanding the discoveries of the scientists, and they were intolerant. Intolerance is not natural. We born a tolerant people, but we are made intolerant through nurturing, through education, through socialization, and through specific point of view. Once it becomes our point of view, it takes, I think, long efforts to transform that understanding, because it becomes their belief. And once it becomes belief, it is like a stone. You can break it, but you cannot look beyond it. There is no flexibility. So belief don't have a flexibility to break this stone. or to make a hole in it, we have to be just like skillful.
I'm sure
This
that
is
a lot of the success that you had here was due to who you are and the fact that you understood the community well, you were part of the community, and yet there were others alongside you who did not have the courage to do the work that you did and who decided
yeah.
that it would be too dangerous. What motivated you to continue when others around you felt it might be too dangerous to do this work?
This is, I think, your question is, I think, very interesting, because when I made this proposal, few friends wanted to do it with me. But when I started, they said it is very risky. Their families didn't allow. And why I did it, I think it was my belief that I can transform them. Even my family, my elder brother, they stopped me. They said, "What are you doing? You can't do it. Nobody has changed yet." Even our saints, they said, "What are you talking? What are you doing? You can't transform them." But I believe in human beings, and I believe what I say. And I know that conviction always transforms from your eyes to others. When we talk with conviction, we transform. And when we talk with confusion, we create a confusion. So this was my belief, and this was my belief on the humans, because I think and I thought they are human beings like me. They are simple, naive people who have been put into specific type of framework to shape their specific type of understandings. Religious leaders are considered to against the girls' education. They are considered against the polio vaccine. They are considered against the family planning. They are against you considered against the violence against women. Every evil that you will listen, you will directly or indirectly listen that these leaders have done. But when I talked and I worked with them, I found them a very sympathizer. Even one of the mosque imams, he said, he confessed that after your training workshops, I have put my all girls in the school, but I am really sorry for my eldest one, whom I couldn't send the schools, and I always feel guilty because we have realized us that girls' education is most important, because we are going into the world where there is no place for illiterates.
So this was a fantastic ripple effect of the work into society, where the education of girls, the ability to get on a bicycle and go to school, this was all something quite new and different. And it changed the life of many people. What were some of the other things that you saw happening between the imams or between different people after this work? I remember you telling me a story once that one of the sponsors of the work didn't really believe that you had managed to achieve what you had achieved. So what were some of the signs that the work was successful?
That's true, because when we shared all these success stories and all these stories that these mosque imams have started Friday sermons on peace and tolerance, one of the donors, he wrote me email that it is not possible. So we invited them to visit us, and I took him into one of the mosques in far-flung areas of the rural areas. And he had a bodyguard with Kalashnikovs. He was so just like scared, and we took him into the mosque during the Friday sermons. The mosque imam started his Friday sermons in the mosque and told the rural areas and the followers, look, we have some new guests you will see in our mosque. They are my teachers. You know, I was used to deliver speeches on various subjects, but he told me that peace is the most wonderful topics that Imam Mosque should deliver. So from now on, I promise with you and with our teachers that I will give all the Friday sermons on the peace and happiness, because I realize then all the rural people should learn how to live in peace and harmony and coexistence. There is no alternative of such kind of things. But I have realized that basically the conflicts have a very complex framework, frankly. It is not just a one-dimensional phenomena, it is a multi-dimensional phenomena. It can be rooted in the humiliation, in poverty. It can be just like a matter of ego. It can be a matter of financial bankruptcy. Mostly we don't go into the deep root causes of the conflict. I realize that we are all humans. When we address other people's based on humanity, based on our convictions that we can transform them, frankly, we transform. I always retreat, I always reflect what I'm doing, and still I have the ability to realize that I'm wrong. Because when we realize we are wrong, we have the ability to learn based on our understanding. And such kind of understanding also enable us to be knowledgeable, because knowledge is based on such kind of uh, exercise or understanding to think. And just like Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. I think such kind of suspicion and thinking process always help us to grow. And when we grow like a tree, frankly, we provide a shadow and we provide a fruit to a lot of people who come in under our shadow. So we, at some extent, we are all saints who work for the people, who transform them, and who help them to change their lives. You know, we are living in such kind of a disturbing environment nowadays. There is a people who don't know what they have to do. They are locked at home, and they are facing financial crisis. They have a disturbing future, and but nobody is there to tell them how to live in spite of all this suffering. Though we all know that this is part of life. All epidemics, all problems, all sufferings are a part of life. This is the beauty of a life. When we have a disease that pure our life, pure our body, we have a suffering that help us to maintain a balance of life. We have such kind of a problems that help us to retreat, think what we are doing with the nature. We have disturbed the whole nature, but we have never time to think about it. So all type of environment, we should realize that everything is a blessing, but we also consider only positive things of our life, and nature has its own, own parameters. Frankly, in this modern world, they don't have a time to reflect on themselves. Though several centuries, Greeks told us, die yourself, know yourself, but we don't have a time to think that we should know ourselves.
Mm.
You know, if we ask any person, who are you? He will tell you, I am a banker, I am a teacher, I am a professional, but nobody tell you I am a human being too. That seems a joke.
Mm.
And if we are not a human being, then we are not also a banker. We are not also a computer experts. We are not also a consultants too, because
Yeah.
we forget our originality.
Thank you, Irshad. You've taken us on a wonderful journey today. And
Thank you.
we spoke of humanity early on in our interview, and we have now ended again talking about humanity and the recognition of humanity in each other, and the work that you've done to help those imams to see the humanity in each other, and the ripple effects on society were great. So thanks for giving us an opportunity to reflect on many things. And thank you for sharing your wonderful story with us. We wish you strength and wisdom as you continue to do such work in Pakistan. Thank you very much.
And thank you. If you have any questions or any more curiosity, you can just ask me. I'm open to answer all type of the questions. And frankly, it is also a great opportunity for me to share my learning with you and with IODA groups, because mostly we don't know others until we go deep into that person's. So you have given me opportunity to share my learning and understanding. Maybe it will be helpful for people to realize who we are.
Thanks very much, Irshad. Thank you.
Thank you.